Okay. Alright guys, I think I'm good. I'm ready. I'm good. I think I'm ready. I'm good. Okay. I'm ready. If you don't already know, today we are going to jump into some tips and I guess tricks on figuring out how to manage traveling more often when you are broke as fluck. So the reason I wanted to cover this topic is because I will be embarking on my first ever semi-solo trip to Greece. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm a nervous wreck right now. I am the equivalency of a little kid that is terrified of clowns going to face a clown. I'm a mess. I'm scared. I'm terrified. And what if things go wrong? At first, when I was getting asked this question, it kind of took me by surprise because traveling came so easy to me and figuring out how to do it came so easy to me, but I realized that everybody is in different situations and not everybody thinks the same. So I wanted to compile a list of things to help you better understand how to travel more often, but that's not necessarily saying that all these things are gonna make you randomly able to travel. It's a process, it's a learning process. So my tips are gonna be all over the place, me in real life, but I want you to know that they all pertain to a different or a certain part of the traveling process, so hopefully they'll help you in some way. So while we're on the subject of packing, I thought I'd segue into my first tip for you guys, and that is try and fit all that you can into your carry-on bags. If you don't have a bag to check, that saves you loads of money right off the bat. So this obviously comes after you've already accomplished the whole booking process. So what I like to do when I'm traveling, even if I am going to a different country for a long period of time, I will shove everything possible into one backpack and one bag. I vow that I will never have a checked bag because it costs so much money to do that. And the heavier it weighs, the more it costs. So I avoid this altogether because it can be a nightmare to begin with. You know, I've heard so many different stories of people losing their luggage or losing valuables or anything in between from A to Z. I am not a fan of that. Before I jump into the other tips that I have for you guys, I wanted to briefly cover the ones that do pertain to travel when you make it to your destination. And these again are tips that are going to help you in the long run save money and be a little bit more weary of where your money is going and just overall being smarter with your money. So the second tip that I have is, actually it's like the second and third. Okay, so 2 and 3 are eat cheap and stay cheap. Don't be afraid to stay in hostels. Despite the horrific blood-curdling movie of people getting completely butchered, I don't think that that's gonna happen, and in my experience and talking to a lot of female travel bloggers, this is absolutely not true whatsoever. Of course, you want to be cautious in a country that you are not familiar with and that has a little bit of a bad reputation, but other than that, hostels are always the go-to for a budget traveler. And think of it this way, you're saving money so that you're able to travel more. That's the whole idea of this video. That's the whole idea of giving you guys these tips. If you want to stay in luxurious hotels and do as Beyonce and Jay-Z do, well, that's great and that's all good and fun, but just know that when you're first starting off your travel adventures, that's probably not the best idea and it's probably not even a possibility for most. Adding to that, you want to make sure you eat cheap, and this is just being frugal. This is frugal 101. You don't need to have champagne every night and you don't have to eat lobster every night. Now, given I feel that when you're traveling, it is okay to allow yourself a special occasion meal and splurge, you know, especially if you're in a country that is well known for a food that you would love to try. You're not gonna get anywhere else. Oftentimes the city that you're, ooh girl, yes, this is cute. Oftentimes the place that you are visiting is going to have a staple for cheap eats. A lot of places have this. You will find blogs and articles all day long online about the best cheap eats. Just because you're eating cheap doesn't mean you have to eat shitty Walmart food wherever you go. It's not that serious, you know, and that's what travel bloggers are for. They go and explore for you and do the research for you so that you don't have to. All right, so now that we've got those tips out of the way, let's bring it home. Alright, so let's talk about your financial situation and where you are at. Now, I know that this may or may not particularly pertain to women, but stop spending money on things you do not need. I mean, this could pertain to guys too, because I've known some pretty flashy guys out there that want to have like the newest, hottest sneaker, but like no one cares. If you are constantly going out every weekend and you're shopping and you're into the latest trends and you want to buy that newest fancy purse that everybody else has on the internet, or that new Fashion Nova set that Kylie Jenner just posted on Instagram, like, if you are into all of the newest fashion trends, that's great, but you will never be able to travel if you're constantly blowing your money on stuff that you do not need. I cannot tell you how long I had the same exact wardrobe. Years, guys, years, probably decades, okay? I don't change my wardrobe very often. Just as I have recently been traveling a lot more, I will get maybe 1 or 2 new pieces for each trip, but even at that, I am so frugal with my money that I will either not buy it if it's full price. I will go straight to the sale section and find something that is dirt cheap. For instance, I just got this skirt from Forever 21 and I got this top. It didn't come with this top. I got this top with it. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It was super freaking cute. And I got both of these for $10. So just try and tell me that I'm not a frugal little witch. I mean, I thrift all my clothes. I buy secondhand and I try and save wherever I can. Like even this hat, guys. I'm gonna sit and I'm gonna brag for a second, so just shut up and listen, okay? So I saw this hat at Target for like $30 and I was like, oh my god, that's so cute. But of course my wallet was like, no, put that shit back, you can't afford it. So I searched and searched and searched and searched. It probably wasn't even that hard, but I searched for a very, very long time. And I actually found this bad boy for $7. Woo! So I lost track of what number we were on. I'm gonna go ahead and say that we were on number 5 and we're just gonna roll with the punches. So tip number 5 for you guys kind of goes hand in hand with the last one that I had, and that is stop eating out. This is another luxury that a lot of people take for granted, and it's something that can add up very, very fast without you even realizing it. All this money that you're blowing on leisure activities and leisure things, you could be saving to travel. Confession, I forgot some tips to throw in the mix when I was talking about the travel process. I mean, I guess I'm talking about the travel process throughout this entire video, but when I was talking to the ones that were more so tailored to the actual act of traveling, I don't know where I'm going with this, but anyways, the next tip that I have for you guys is do not buy food at the airport. I'm sure you understand why this is a big no-no, and in my opinion is the dumbest thing that anybody could ever do. Outrageous prices are not gonna change. They're gonna stay at the airports, and they know that you can't do anything about it, so they're gonna charge you an arm, a leg, and possibly your boobs, and maybe your hair, and an eyeball, and the list goes on and on. They will literally murder you in exchange for food. That's how much it costs to buy food at the airport. You can, however, pack snacks that are also very cheap. And if your layover is long enough, I personally feel like in certain situations it would be way more worth it to find your way into the city and find something cheap to eat. This isn't always the best route though, because if the airport is far away from the nearest food place, then you might be spending more than you would in the airport. That's why I said beforehand that some situations are out of your control. Alright, so moving on to yet another tip that has to do with the whole travel process as a whole, and that is being flexible. Now, when I say be flexible, I mean bend that back, girl, because it is impossible to travel often if you are not flexible. And by being flexible, I mean you need to be flexible with the destination that you're flying to, the amount of time that you'll be spending there, when you're flying there, what month, I don't know, what day of the week you're flying out, just a whole bunch of different variables that add up in the end. So this last tip is the most important one. And if it is not put into play, then it's never going to happen for you. You have to actually want it. And this sounds like some old preachy subject that we're about to dive into, but it's not. I'm gonna keep it short and sweet. If deep down in the blackest part of your heart you really don't want to travel, you have other priorities, then it's never gonna happen for you. As much as you say you want it and as much as you pretend to do things to get you there, it's never going to happen because you really don't want it. Your heart doesn't want it. You have different priorities, and that's okay. If you are truly looking for a way to travel more often, you have to be able to tell yourself, no, I don't want to eat out today because that money could go towards a trip that I want to take. Or do I really need this $60 dress? No. Actually wanting this from the bottom of your heart means that you are able to sacrifice things that other people can't. Other people won't sacrifice for the sake of traveling. And that's pretty much it. That's where it comes to an end. That is the truth be told. That is the Bible of travel. So I hope you guys found the tips in this video to be at least somewhat helpful. If you found it to be helpful, do me a solid and make love to that like button. If not, you know, that's fine too. But I am going to end the video now because I have some last minute things that I need to take care of before I take off. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Take your shirt off, bring your hair, swing it like a helicopter. I feel like everything went smooth for this video, but knowing my luck, I'm probably going to get into the editing process and realize that I had a hair sticking up the entire time, or my boob fell out of my sports bra somehow, and it's frustrating.